I didn't make my first $2,000 in my business until I believed that I was the type of coach that someone would pay to help them. I didn't manifest a loving, adoring, respectable, transparent relationship until I became the type of woman who would attract a relationship like that. I did not attract the most inspiring group of friends until I became someone that could inspire, until I became the type of friend who could do the same for someone in return. I did not start my business until I stopped believing that entrepreneurship was something that was only reserved for like rich white men or the celebrities. Like, I had to see myself as someone who was more than capable of starting a business and being paid to do something that I love to do. So all of this was accomplished because I was willing to become a certain type of person. Not only was I willing to become her, but I was willing to talk like her, act like her, take action like her, set routines and habits just like her. You know, this version of me that I had to become, I was willing to become her through the discomfort, through the fear, through the uncertainty, through everything that happens because I'm a human and my brain is going to do human things. But that is how I've gotten to this point right here. I was willing to evolve into the next best version of myself, and I'm consistently willing to do that. And that's all that your goals are requiring from you. When you look at the things that you want to have, when you look at the life that you want to live, the number one thing that you need to ask yourself is, who do I need to become? Because if you are willing to do what she has to do, act how she would have to act, think how she would have to think, your dream life is literally inevitable. Hello and welcome back. My name is Juditha and I am your mindset coach and your dream life advocate. In this space, we talk about your fears, your dreams, your goals, your comfort zone, your identity, your brain, literally all the things that matter when you are trying to create your dream life, because I'm trying to do the same thing. So trust me when I say that I get it. I've been where you are, and sometimes I'm still there. Okay, so if this sounds like you, if it sounds like something that you're interested in listening to, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, and let's get into today's video. So this is going to be part 3 of my identity series. In part 1, we spoke about who you are versus who you need to become. In part 2, we spoke about your limiting beliefs and how to create core beliefs, aka beliefs that you live by no matter what is going on around you. And now today in video 3, we are going to talk about how to start acting as if you are already that girl, because that is the key. Okay, one thing that you have to understand about your identity is this: whoever you believe that you are, you will not act outside the box of that person. If you believe that you are a strong, capable person, you will do things that strong, capable people do. If you believe that you are a unlucky, poverty-ridden, why does this always happen to me? No one likes me. I don't have friends. If you believe that you're that type of person, you're going to do what those type of people do. You're going to self-sabotage. You're going to make sure that you live a life that that type of person would live. Okay? Period. So your identity equals the box that you live in. I've already touched on this before, but when I said to myself, I graduated college, I was super fucking lost, did not know what I wanted to do with my life. I just knew that after interning for 2 businesses, I was like, yeah, absolutely not. Like, I'm not trying to work for these people. I'm not trying to do what they tell me every minute of the day when they tell me to do it. Like, I hated that. And that's when I started to evolve into this other identity of being an entrepreneur, because I was like, hold on. If this isn't the life that I want, I need to start thinking about what I want to do and then start to become her. And that's exactly what I've done. And that's exactly why now today I've been paid to do what I love. I post content talking about what I love. All of this happened because I was willing to become a certain type of person. There's 2 other things that you need to understand about identity. The first one is, when you are acting as her, the same way that you have to consistently work a muscle, it's the same way that you have to consistently flex this new identity. And the way that you do that is every decision that you make is either casting a vote towards who you are or who you're becoming. Literally everything. When you get up earlier, like you say you will, it's casting a vote towards who you're becoming. When you stay on the couch, watch TV, and don't work out like you say you will, you're casting a vote towards the person you already are. I hope that makes sense, because that's exactly what every single decision that you make throughout your day, that is what it's doing. It's casting a vote. Who am I being? Am I being who I always have been, which have reaped me the life that I'm already living? And is that enough? Or do I need to make decisions that point me towards this other version of me? So that's the first thing. It's a muscle. And you are going to consistently come up against the biggest challenge of changing your identity, which is when your old identity and your new identity are at war. When you've always been a certain type of person, when you've always identified as lazy, as an overthinker, as somebody who's unlucky, as someone who doesn't have enough, who doesn't have support, when you consistently identify as that type of woman, your brain becomes used to it, okay? So every time you try to make a decision that goes against who you've been, it's gonna be hard because your brain is gonna convince you not to do it. It's gonna convince you why it won't work. It's gonna bring every excuse, and your job right here, right now, is to not believe it, okay? That's the first thing. The second thing that I want you guys to remember is don't fake it, feel it, okay? Because I know when it comes to identity, one of the top advices that I always hear, and you've probably heard too, is to fake it till you make it. And I'm not saying that's not helpful, because there's been plenty of times where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just have to fake the confidence that I don't feel. But more than faking it, I want you to feel it. And what that really looks like for me is, I'll give you an example. Like when I'm recording these YouTube videos, sometimes I don't know what to say. I'm literally like, I don't know how to do it. Is this going to be helpful? Like I'm overthinking every single word. And on those days, it's very hard for me to just be in that state of flow. And what I've started doing is I've started asking myself, okay, if I already had 1 million subscribers on YouTube, how would I record this video? How would I feel, right? How would the version of me who has already succeeded at that goal, how would she feel? How would she show up? Would she be confident? Would she be okay knowing that this video could help just one person and that's enough? Like, I have to step in completely to that version of me who would feel like I've already accomplished the goal, because when I do that, how I'm going to do it becomes very obvious, right? When I focus on the who, the how reveal itself, okay? I don't have to do extra work when I'm already being that version of myself. So that's something that you have to remember. When you are doing anything, ask yourself, how do I need to feel in this moment? Like if I had already accomplished this goal, how would that version of me feel? How would she show up? What emotions would she be sitting in right now? And then you do your best to duplicate that. Okay, duplicate the feeling more than the action. Okay, that is where the real identity work is. All right, so now that you know a little bit about identity, a little bit about acting as if you already are her, let's get to the really, really important part, which is, okay, where do you start on your journey to becoming this version of you? How do you figure out who she even is? Well, if you watched video 1, you should have a list of who you're being compared to who you need to become. And that list is what you're going to use right now. So if you haven't already seen it, I'm going to link the video somewhere, either on the screen or in the description box, so you can make sure you go watch that one first. Once you have that list, you come back here, okay? These instructions, your homework, it's going to be simple and easy. I'm not going to make it too complicated. There's only 2 things I'm going to tell you to do. The first one is going to be to take your goal, whatever the goal is, and we're going to work one goal at a time. Okay. So whatever that goal is, let's say you want to start a business. Since I usually work with women who want to start businesses or become creators. If that is your goal, the question you're going to ask yourself is, who do I need to be in order to accomplish that goal? Who do I need to become to be an entrepreneur? Right? And I can tell you the answers right now. You need to be someone who's confident. You need to be someone who has discipline, right? Who has certain habits and routines and schedules, and someone who is willing to be uncomfortable, someone who is willing to understand that fear does not mean stop. It means I got to keep going despite how I feel. That's the type of woman that you have to become when you want to build a business. So that's the first step. The first step is to make sure that you're very clear on the type of woman that you need to become. And if you don't know, use ChatGPT. Tell ChatGPT, this is my goal. I'm doing an identity shift. What type of woman do I need to become to accomplish this thing? So you can do that. Or what I did was I started to study the lives of people that I consider to be successful, right? Oprah Winfrey, Les Brown, Lisa Nichols, Tony Robbins, people that are in my field, coaches. I studied what they did. I studied their morning routines, how they think, how they talk, what they engaged in, the people that they hung around with. Like I studied their mindset, and then what I did was I started to mimic it, right? So what I did in the beginning was I realized that most successful people, they get up early. Like it's not a mandatory thing, but I just noticed that most of the videos that I watch, they always say get up early. So I started getting up early. Then I also noticed that most successful people, they usually do something in the morning that is for their mind, their body, and their spirit, right? So it might be working out, praying, and journaling, right? Something for your mind, body, and your spirit. So I do that. When I wake up, I try to get up every morning at 6 a.m. I make a cup of tea. As I'm making my tea and the water is brewing, I read a book, and usually it's a self-development book on my phone. I just read a few pages. Once the tea is ready, I drink my tea. As I'm drinking my tea, I start to visualize, I start to meditate. And then after I do that, I might do a little bit of journaling depending if I have time. And then after I do that, I work out. And then after I work out, I clock into my job. So that is what I've noticed that most successful people do. They have this routine, they have this schedule. They are working on their mind, their body, and their spirit every single day. So that's what I did. So this is what I want you to do with your goal. I want you to start studying people who are in positions that you want to be in. What are their routines? What are their habits? What do they think like? What do they believe like? And what you're going to do is you're going to take whatever resonates with you and leave what doesn't. But that is going to be the blueprint for the woman that you need to become. Okay, that is the first step. Once you have that blueprint, the second thing that you're going to do, you're going to choose 2 to 3 habits to start implementing right away. I just told you that what I did was I started to create a morning routine that to me felt like, okay, this is what successful people do, so I'm gonna do it. So that's the 2 to 3 habits that I started. I worked out, I journaled, and I would meditate. Now for you, it could be, it depends on what your goal is. And your goal can be as simple as I just wanna lose a few pounds, like whatever the case may be. Choose 2 to 3 habits that you would need to implement in order to reach that goal, okay? Do you need to wake up earlier? Do you need to set your clothes out before you go to bed or before you go to work, so that when you come home, you do work out? If you're trying to be an entrepreneur, do you need to set time aside like every week to do dedicated learning to perfect your craft? Like whatever the habit is, choose 2 to 3, and I want you to make them small. Do not, and I repeat, do not try to change overnight. Do not. If you've never been the type of woman to get up, to meditate, to pray, to do 30 minutes of reading, to then get into like a flow state and do work. If you've never been that type of woman, do not expect yourself to become her overnight. You're going to make your habits so small that your brain can fathom the changes that you're trying to make. Because when you tell your brain, I'm going to get up earlier and I'm going to do all these things that I've never done before, that's why you procrastinate. That's why you overthink. Because your brain is like, hold on, we're trying to change too much all at once. We aren't even this person. Like, who do we think we are? Like, and your brain is for sure going to convince you not to do it. And it's not going to feel like that's what's happening. It's just going to feel like, oh, I'm lazy. Oh, I can't do this. Excuses, okay? Excuses. So do not try to change everything all at once. Make the goal so small it's laughable. And this is how small I want you to make it. I struggled with being a consistent reader, but once I'm in the book, like I can go, but it's just like getting myself to sit down and do it was the hard part. So what I did was, hold on y'all, the camera is rocking like it's nobody's business. Let me fix that. Okay. So what I did was, instead of setting the goal for me to read a chapter every day, I made it a goal for me to read 1 sentence every day, because it sounds stupid and it sounds so easy. It would be crazy if I didn't do it. Like 1 sentence, like 1 sentence. If I couldn't do that, then damn, I don't even deserve the success that I want, because that's so easy. And that's the point. If you want to work out, maybe at first, all you need to do is set your alarm to wake up earlier. Even if you don't work out, start to set your alarm to get up a little earlier. And then every morning you just wake up and you just sit up. And then you just tell yourself, okay, I'm up. And then you stay up. And I don't know, you do something else if you don't feel like working out. But my thing is, when you're trying to create a habit, start slow. Do it in phases, okay? If you have a goal to get 1% better, that is going to take you way further than 0%. That is going to take you way further than trying to give 100% for 1 week and then falling off, because that's just not who you are yet, okay? So that is step number 2. Pick 2 to 3 habits and make them small, make them laughable. And then you just start to act as if you already heard by doing those habits every day, or however many times a day or a week that you need to do those habits, okay? That is it for this video, because we want to start small. I don't want to give you too much in this series. But if you are ready to take on the challenge to become that girl, I want you to comment, I am her, okay? Put her in caps, I am her, because I want you to commit today that you are going to do everything in your power to make sure that you act like her, you think like her, and you believe like her. And on those days where your old identity wins, you're not going to make it mean that you failed. You're just going to take it as a lesson and remember that I told you it's a muscle that you're going to have to flex, okay? It's a muscle. The more that you flex it, eventually you're gonna lean more towards being this new version of you, even when that old version of you keeps trying to pull you back, because that will happen, okay? And that is okay. Nothing has gone wrong here. Comment, I am her, if you are ready for the change, all right? And I will see you guys for the next video in this series. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button before you go, and you guys have a wonderful day.